Mic check. I guess it's time for me to start now. Wait. Oops. There we go. Hello, my fellow viewers. It's me, Biscuit, again, and I'm sorry for the delay. I was having technical issues. It seems like the slides were moving when I wasn't trying to move them, and so I had some problems on OBS, and here we go. Yeah, that was a glitch, but here I am. This is my second stream since my debut stream on Saturday. I hope you guys are doing well. Today we're going to be learning a little bit more about me. So here's a little bit of myself. Hello, I'm a curious young artificer raised by wandering storytellers. I always believe that every creation carries a little bit of heart. While others may focus on numbers and formulas, I see warmth, meaning, and possibility in my craft. It took me a while for me to be able to get here, but as an artificer, there's no place to go but forward, and so grateful to be able to be here. And as I'm here to share more about myself, I wanted to share some of the anime that I tend to enjoy. So this is a list of my favorite anime, including Code Geass, 86, Vanitas no Karate, or The Case Study of Vanitas, as it's called in English, Oshinoko, Violet Evergarden, and Fate Zero. I tend to really enjoy them because they have a great story to them. Each of them have a great story to them, but in specific, Code Geass has these awesome political. I really like the political aspects of Code Geass, as well as the main character Lelouch, who gets his powers of Geass and becomes a vigilante named Zero in order to save Japan from the tyrannic Britannian Empire. And there's a lot of character development, and every character gets a chance to shine, and everything's just so engaging there. And it doesn't help that the animation looks very good. 86, it also has some political elements. It's a dystopian anime where these people fight off against robots who turn out to be ghosts, and the main character leads a military group who has been abandoned by the country, and I find it quite intriguing. Vanitas is a steampunk vampire anime with a very intricate design, and it's based on France, and the way that the anime is presented with its colors, with its storybook like aesthetic, it's really nice, and the animation is very good. Oshinoko takes a deep dive into the entertainment industry, and I was surprised by the first episode. It really not only showcased a story of revenge, but the visual direction really made it to where it could become something beautiful. And it gets deeper as the series progresses. The second anime, I mean, the next anime, one of my favorite animes, is Violet Evergarden, and I really enjoy that because it's by Kyoto Animation, one of the anime studios who definitely shows that they care more about quality over quantity. And Violet is a touching story about a doll like girl who has no emotions and learned to fight on the battlefield, but after having feelings for this one man that she met, she starts to feel that she needs to learn the phrase I love you, and she starts to write letters, and it's just very beautiful. Fate Zero, on the other hand, is a battle royale that has a lot of things going on behind the scenes with great animation and great music. Fate Zero really stood out to me when I was a teen. And here are some of the anime that I'm currently watching this season, such as My Hero Academia. My Hero Academia last season. Yes, the first season came out in 2016, and I am really taken aback by the current season of My Hero Academia because sorry about that. I'm just trying to figure this out. Just a little nervous. Don't mind me. Anyways, I really enjoyed My Hero Academia's last season because it really shows how our main character, Midoriya Izuku, has grown as the current inheritor of All for One, and his final confrontation with Shigaraki Tomura in All for One really show a moral clash between fighting for oneself versus fighting for everyone. I also really like Gachiakta, who is made by the same studio who's doing My Hero Academia this season. Gachiakta is a dystopian anime where the rich throw out trash, and there are many people who live in a post apocalyptic world that basically has trash around them. And the main character sees value in trash but was exiled from the city known as the Sphere, and ever since then he vowed vengeance. And it's a very character driven show, and I really enjoyed Gachiakta, and I hope you do too if you get a chance. I also enjoy the latest season of Arknights. I have seen the first two seasons, and I have praised both of them for their stunning animation and cinematic direction. There's just something about Yoestar Pictures that I remember seeing their animated commercials for Arknights on YouTube, and I would use them for some of my custom videos. And to think they'd be able to have enough money to make their own studio that makes a TV anime, oh, and it definitely looks above average. I'll say that much. And then there's Doctor Stone, Science Future, which is pretty much the final season of Doctor Stone. As you can see, Doctor Stone is an anime that I like to call edutaining because it's educational because of the way Senku talks about scientific ways to create stuff. And in a world where everyone has been turned into stone, civilization has literally become frozen. But Senku's knowledge has really shown that these things, these recipes, are ways of life and tools, they can really never die, and it's thanks to him. And the series is going on a really intense direction, and I'm really enjoying it. I've been a bit slow, but I have yet to catch up on the latest season of Doctor Stone. Kaiju number 8 reminds me of Pacific Rim, where the heroes fight off against these kaiju like monsters. Only this time they're not fighting with giant robot suits, they're fighting with weapons and smaller suits. But we have a main character who happens to have the powers of a kaiju and has to literally push himself to the limit and fight for his life in order to fight kaiju with the military so that he can be able to be with the one he loves. I also have recently enjoyed Silent Witch because it's an anime about an introvert learns how to chant who learns how to materialize magic without having to traditionally chant them with words like the rest of her society does. Though I do feel kind of bad for the main character Monica in Silent Witch because she's often pushed to the very limits socially, and as an introvert, I can't help but relate. So I made a little tier list. It's pretty small because I'm not really watching many anime this season because I've been getting a bit, like I mentioned in my debut stream, I've been getting a little bit burnt out with. Oh, wait, there we go. Been getting a little burnt out with how the anime industry has been pumping out quantity over quality, and I've also been preparing to become a VTuber recently, and that's what's kind of contributed to me being slow to watch anime as of recently, so bear with me. But anyway, I put My Hero Academia's latest season in S tier because I really enjoy Midoriya's story and how he has progressed all this way and how he really has become an influence to his fellow heroes in his Hero Academia, if you will. Every episode has managed to capture the emotions of the characters very well. I I also praise Gachiakta for having consistent animation because anime budgets tend to fluctuate and anime is pretty expensive to make. And usually, when an anime goes over 13 episodes, the quality tends to dip and they don't look as good. And Gachiakta is been pretty much an exception. Having aired for 22 episodes, it has honestly looked solid, and I am impressed. I honestly think Gachiakta deserves that S minus rank because it's just that good. I don't know if it'll beat the latest season of My Hero Academia, but it's definitely up there. It really scratches that 2000s anime itch. I haven't caught up on Arknight's latest season, but I think I'm going to give it an A because it looks good, but it could be a little bit, and I really enjoy the story. For a gotcha game about these types of things, they're usually a dime a dozen from my experience, but Arknights really stands out, and I need to catch up. Arknights has a lot of characters, and sometimes it can be a little bit hard to keep track, and they might not always get the time to shine, and so I'll just give it a solid A. Dr. Stone's science future is very intriguing and very emotional as of recently, especially since it's rushing towards the climax, especially with Senku and his friends finally not just finding a way to be able to find a cure to what's making turning everyone into stone, but also fighting against people who want to use the power of science for evil and to rule. And that's why I give it an A minus, but also it's an A minus because the animation in this season can be a little bit not the most engaging at times. And I gave Silent Witch a B plus because I was taken aback by the director choices like Konosuba and Princess Connect 2 anime with pretty fluid animation, comedy anime that I haven't seen before are directing a Silent Witch, and that kind of gave me an incentive to check this out. But at the same time, I kind of feel bad for Monica because she's trying to be pushed way too far outside her comfort zone, and so can't help but feel like I wish someone gentler could be able to help her in a gentler way. So I think so far Silent Witch deserves a B plus. Kaiju number 8 has solid animation, fight scenes that are pretty intense, and it's got a pretty simple story to follow along. I'm not quite finished with it yet, but I don't exactly relate to the main character as much. It seems like anime with a 40-year-old protagonist that's also an underdog is becoming a trend as of recently. If there are people who enjoy that, great, but I enjoy the latest season of Kaiju number 8 too, but personally, I think I've seen better, but I can't deny that it looks good, so I'm gonna give it a B plus. That was weird. But anyways, I'm happy to answer any questions in the chat. Turns out nobody is showing, but that's okay. I'm new to this. Let me continue. Well, if you're wondering why I gave those scores, I'd be happy to tell you about how I've been feeling about anime as of recent. I've mentioned this earlier in the debut stream that the anime industry is loaded with anime that air every season, and there's a lot more of them because anime is more in demand than ever. It reminds me of how anime used to be a niche, and my friends would often tell me that anime is one of those things that where if you get I'm trying to sorry. I'm just trying to I lost my train of thought. Anime used to be one of those things where if you would talk about it, it's you would get ridiculed for it. They'd think it's weird, but now we live in a world where anime is mainstream, and I think this all started thanks to COVID. And because COVID was a thing, people were at home and they didn't have anything to do, and that's when short form entertainment became a thing. On the bright side, however, that did give me an opportunity for me to watch lots of anime that did not air in 2020 because 2020 was when COVID hit really hard and everyone was staying at home. And so I watched a lot of anime and revisited a couple ones, and I really broadened my horizons there. And there was some anime that aired during COVID that I rewatched, and the quality wasn't very good. COVID has really affected the way anime has been produced, but since anime has become more mainstream, people are more wanting more and more anime that the studios don't really have enough time to be able to keep up with the demands, and it doesn't help that producers for these things are propelled by trends, and they care more about money rather than making quality. But there are still some anime like 86 and Oshinoko and Gachiakta and My Hero Academia that I mentioned earlier that show that there's still hope. From my experiences, there's still storytelling that can be shown in anime, and those anime give me hope. But with the way there are lots of isekai and villainous anime out there, I'm not very positive, and it kind of makes me wish that we'd go back to the past a little bit because there were a lot of cool anime songs back then that I remember that were performed by bands, and like in anyways, I think there are still good anime out there in my opinion, but I think there's a lot more things that we need to curate from because there are a lot of okay anime that come out every season, but there's still hope. Well, I know this is a bit early, but I think I'm going to end now because I need to figure out when people are most available, and I'll probably have to adjust my schedule. But in the meantime, have a good one, my fellas.